Of course, it's Christopher Shaw here with 80 Central and Jaie Avila, and we're here joined by Wang Chung, Nick Feldman, and Jack Hues. And this is the opening night of the Abducted by the 80s tour. And it's got to be exciting. You're finally getting this kicked off. We've been talking about it for months, and now it's here.
Yeah.
It's here. We've just done a sound check. I think it sounded all right.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're excited.
Pretty good, actually. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Martha was going nuts when she heard To Live and Die in L.A.
Oh, that's nice.
In a good way, I hope.
In a good way.
I hate that song.
Just got to
Don't go nuts.
get some medicine for the vocals and we'll be fine.
That's it.
Yeah, it sounded great from here. And let me tell you, I was in the market this morning
Okay.
and heard Let's Go.
Oh, great.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, what's it like to have written music that decades later, you can hear it anywhere, no matter what country you're in?
It's an amazing thing, you know. What can you say that's intelligent apart from there's a lot of gratitude, you know. But I think 80s music does have this enduring kind of quality to it. I've spoken about this quite a lot in interviews about sort of essentially idealistic up feeling of a lot of 80s music, you know. I think with Wang Chung, there's also a sort of nuanced sense of that as well, you know.
Sure.
But I think in these troubled times, somehow 80s music and the idealism that goes with it is a breath of fresh air. You know?
Sure. We listened to Live and Die in L.A.
Yeah.
But how important was that song? You know, you just come off of Points of the Curve, dance hall days, the success. You're having to follow it up, and you get that phone call from Bill
Yeah.
that says, "Hey, tap on the shoulder, let's do some music." How important is that to you in the maturation process for the band?
I think very important because it showed a different side to us, you know, from Points on the Curve and subsequently to Mosaic with Everybody Have Fun Tonight. You know?
Yeah.
So you have these, to jump ahead slightly, we're working on a greatest hits collection which we're going to call Clear Light, Dark Matter.
Yes.
And that sort of reflects, that title reflects this sense of Wang Chung. You know, there's the upside of Everybody Have Fun Tonight and Let's Go and those kind of super optimistic things, and then there's a slightly sort of darker side as well. And sometimes they're in the one song, like with Everybody Have Fun Tonight, you have On the Edge of Oblivion in the middle section, you know. And so we were always trying to sort of push the envelope a bit.
Yeah. Subverting our own stuff. But to Live in LA was just absolutely, you know, heaven sent because we were getting a lot of pressure from the record company to come up with the follow-up hit to Dance All Days, and we weren't quite nailing that.
Yeah.
So we were, and then Freaking got in touch, and suddenly we had this amazing project to do, which was the opposite to writing hit songs, but it was, you know, like no vocals and just long form, dark, gritty kind of stuff. Yeah. So it was the perfect thing for us to kind of, well, excited us and stimulated us.
Yeah,
but it also sort of, I think, inspired us to kind of, you know, move forward back into the pop stuff afterwards, you know, like Everybody Have Fun Tonight.
Yeah, because
So it was a very important step for us.
Bill didn't want any song, no vocals. He just wanted music.
That's right. That was one of the first stipulations. It was like, I don't want a song called To Live and Die in LA. You know?
But you didn't listen.
We didn't listen. And I think that's always pretty good advice, actually. You know, never listen to what somebody tells you.
What was that?
Many of us love the song Wait from Points on a Curve. So when we heard it in the movie, that was great. Did Friedkin like that song?
That was the song that he liked, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the sort of jump-off point for him. He was, you know, shooting the movie during the day and then watching the rushes, you know, and he would play Wait in the background to sort of get the right mood. And I think when he started thinking about the soundtrack, I got the sense that maybe he tried to work with a sort of more conventional soundtrack writer, and it just wasn't happening. So he came to us to deliver more of what he knew we could do.
Yeah. I have to ask you about a song. It's probably not as popular in Europe or whatever, but when we play it on 80 Central or we ask requests, this is our most requested Wang Chung song, and that's Fire in the Twilight from the Breakfast Club soundtrack. Right. Can you tell me, first off, when was that recorded? Was that recorded during the sessions for Points, and then you gave it to him, or was that specifically for the movie? And what do you think about that track?
That was Keith Forsey who was doing the sort of music, supervising the whole of that film. And he really he wanted to work with us on it. He'd half written Fire in the Twilight. Well, it wasn't called that then.
Sure.
But he got us in to sort of work with him, and we wanted to develop it a bit more and Wang Chung-ize it, whatever the expression is. So we sort of developed it with him in the studio, didn't we?
Yeah.
And yeah, so we had no idea that Breakfast Club was going to become a kind of cultural landmark of the 80s that it became. But we obviously we knew about John Hues, and we were pleased to be asked to get involved. But what it turned into was amazing for us. But it was completely separate from
Yeah.
you know that
What you were doing.
Points on the Curve and any other album project we were doing.
I mean, that is a beautiful song, and as far as in the movie, it kind of breaks everything up. It's the kind of
the highlight of that
It's the
movie.
highlight of that movie.
really
yeah.
is.
Oh, that's nice of you guys to say.
It's because it
love it.
it comes right when all the characters are kind of getting together and
Yeah.
kind of bonding or whatnot,
Yeah.
and such a great scene.
Yeah, no, it is a great scene.
Well, it was. I think Don't You Forget About Me was pretty good, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that one.
Well,
that one, yeah.
I still think Twilight should have been released. You know,
I think you're right.
It was actually released. It was a single, wasn't it?
Okay.
I remember doing a video for it. With,
Sure.
and Molly Ringwald was in the video.
Okay.
She came down and sat with us in
Nice.
scene in the cinema. You know.
Well, what about Mosaic? You know, it's probably your most successful album. It's the one, I think it's the quintessential Wang Chung album, a lot of people say. You're coming off of To Live and Die in L.A. It must have been just kind of freedom in the studio for you to, now we've gotten past the sophomore, as far as that success. We can go in and do it pretty much whatever we want.
Well, I don't think it was quite that actually. It was more, okay, you guys have had a break. You've done your arty film track album that you wanted
Sure.
to do. Now you've got to write a hit.
Yeah.
And it really was like that. So working with Peter Wolf was quite a conscious decision. And Peter kind of kicked our asses, really, didn't he?
Sure.
And turned Everybody Have Fun Tonight, which at that initial point was more of a ballady kind of song. He turned it into the sort of party central record that it is. And the line, Everybody Have Fun Tonight, Everybody Wang Chung Tonight, he really brought that forward, because for us it was just a little ad-lib thing that we probably replaced with something else. But he was like, no, that's the song.
But I think, as I said before, the experience of doing To Live and Die in L.A., I think gave us, cleansed our palate enough to be able to actually embrace going up that more pop, accessible road again. But we still, even on Mosaic, though, it wasn't just a pop record. We did those other tracks like The World in Which We Live, which is quite a long form, quite involved, much darker sounding track, So it's a mix. It's a whole journey of. It's a mosaic of different ideas.
Is what it was. Yeah, I was thinking that as far as Points on a Curve, when that first hit, that really blew away a lot of us, because a lot of us devoured music, especially imports and things at that stage. But this had the bass lines. It kind of brought R&B into a lot of our worlds. All of a sudden we hear, you can have these guitars and you can have this great funky bass line. That was.
I think we're sort of both influenced by all sorts of different things, from prog right through to funk and soul and classical and all sorts of stuff. So I think Wang Chung does bring all these things into the mix. If you know what I mean.
When I first met Nick, he was forming a band in London at the time of punk, really.
Yeah.
So punk was very much 3 chords and the truth,
That's it.
sort of 1 chord and the truth, really. But Nick was writing these songs that had kind of quite jazzy chords in, and he was a big Frank Zappa fan and into progressive rock as well. So when we met, I kind of felt that kinship with him, and not only that stuff, but he was into Chaka Khan and Chic and sort of R&B kind of stuff, and that's something again that we shared. And I think Wang Chung was unusual on the English scene, in that we had a sort of slightly funky feel in the way we approached the rhythmic side. It wasn't just like just 4/4,
Yeah.
So
I know you guys got to get going, but talk about the 40 plus years, relationship and the songwriting, and it just seems it just keeps growing. And you guys have, you guys will step back, do some side projects or do some solo, but you always come back together. And Wang Chung seems to be the center for you.
yeah, well, we're brothers, aren't we?
We're brothers.
We're brothers, yeah. And we've worked all the time, I think, even when Wang Chung was dormant through from 1990 through to about 2008. We were still working together on some projects with other bands and stuff. And so, we still like each other. I think that's quite miraculous.
You only like me. I thought you loved me.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Nick. Yeah.
I love you.
Well, thank you so much to you both to joining us. Jack Hues, Nick Feldman, and from Wang Chung, opening night here in Kyle, Texas, for the Abducted by the 80s tour. And I know the fans around not only here in Kyle, Texas, but around America can't wait to see
Well, that's great.
Wang Chung.
We're looking forward to meeting you guys as well.
No. So come and get abducted by the 80s.